welcome to Azril. Today we'll be covering the Demonology Warlock. Now, Demonology Warlocks are new additions to the Alpha Realms as of February the 11th, 2016. They have gone through a numerous amount of changes and have also inherited the Soul Shard system. Now, this is the case for all three specs for Warlocks in Legion. I will quickly go over the artifact. The Demonology artifact is quite unique in the case that the offhand is actually where the tooltip lays. It is the floating skull, as you can see. He's hovering around me. He looks kind of cool. He is alive. It's not just some cosmetic thing. He used to be a demon called Valkiel. And what Valkiel does is when I demon bolt, Valkiel goes up to the target and he screams, dealing damage to all targets within 5 yards. Now, I'm not so sure about this scream. I hope it doesn't fear mobs so they run away. I hope it's more of a fear in place, like an intimidation, which would be kind of cool. It would be like somewhat of like miniature stun lock, since it pulsates every 1.5 seconds for 6 seconds, which is kind of cool. And it only works on undead and demons. Obviously the main hand is just a stat stick. I'll quickly go over the talents I've decided Demonologies will be using in Legion. I've gone with Shadowflame. Now, Shadowflame to me feels more like old Hand of Gul'dan, and I'll explain more on that once I've shown you Hand of Gul'dan here. As you can see, Hand of Gul'dan isn't Hand of Gul'dan anymore. It's just a pet spawning ability which consumes shards. So as you can see, they have gone through quite a bit of a change since they now use the Soul Shard system of the Metamorphosis system. Shadowy Inspiration, I wasn't so sure about this. This does apply to Demon Bolt. I kind of feel like Demon Bolt, it's great and all, but I feel like most of my damage is coming from my pets, as well as the mastery kind of displays that to be the case. And most of my abilities kind of feel like I'm more of a pet orientated spec. Hardly any of the damage should be coming from me. So why Shadowflame? I went with Shadowflame because of the Soul Shard generation purely. And the dot is actually pretty great. It stacks. There are a few neat tips and tricks I have for this, which I will get into once we start playing. Then you have Demonic Calling, which it just makes your Dreadstalkers free. Now, that is kind of nice, kind of. But the problem is 10% is such a small percentage. Demon Bolt and Shadow Bolt, they are guaranteed generators. So a 10% on one of these, it doesn't sound that great. Where I know every 2 I am guaranteed to get 2 shards, which is inherently how much my Dreadstalkers cost. But then what if you do get some procs? Well, then you got to compete with Shadowflame, because Shadowflame also is guaranteed 2 shards and it's a dot damage with stacks. And I'll get over to the stacking in a moment. Now, next roll, I've gone Impending Doom. Every time Doom deals damage, you spawn imps. Now, having as many imps as possible, many Dreadstalkers, as many pets as possible will buff your damage. Your Demon Bolt scales with how many each type of demon you have. Maybe you have 5 imps or 1 of each. You gain damage added up from all of them. It's not 1 of each, it's every single demon. Every single. Which is kind of crazy, so the more pets the better. Improved Dreadstalkers, again, it kind of does the same thing, but I feel like dots tick more often than I press the Dreadstalker cooldown, which is 15 seconds I believe, which isn't that often if you really think about how often the tick of Doom is, since it's a short dot now. Implosion, however, is really cool. I'm actually surprised about Implosion because I kind of feel like I could utilize this even in single target. Let's say there is a fight where you want to switch a target and blow it up. instantly. You quite literally will implode that target with imp explosions, which you might, yes, get single overall, but hey, you'd be doing your raid of flavor and killing out whatever that specific target is. Let's take Archimon Doomfire. Switch, boom, done. Simple. No cast, instant. Lose all your imps, but it's the price you pay. This roll obviously does not matter for this test. Now, I've gone with Power Trip. Why Power Trip is, you have so many pets, and Demonic Empowerment is really, really strong. As you can see, Demonic Empowerment here is increase their haste and health by 50%. But that's not all. The Mastery is now, Demonic Empowerment also increases the damage of your demons by 49.30%. Obviously this is with gear that has some mastery on it, and the mastery seems to be a big scaling point. But as you can see, it's only 1289 rating, and compared to how much haste I have, and it doesn't really give that much. So that's a lot of pet damage. And you have 3 charges of Demonic Empowerment on a 12-second recharge. So essentially you have 100% uptime of Demonic Empowerment. Let's move on. Instead of taking Power Chip, I could have went with Hand of Doom, because this essentially was a free global. Now, what I mean by free global means I wouldn't have to press Doom, which might turn out to be really good on 2 target fights, but I believe if I was to guess numbers, even though it's alpha, Power Trip is the way to go. I'm not so sure about Soul Harvest. Since it's a first iteration of Demonology, I believe this actually will be taken away and they will be given something else. I kind of feel like the Soul Shard mechanic is pretty steady for Demonology. It's not like Affliction where it's on chance. You're pretty much guaranteed to get a Soul Shard when you Demon Bolt, and you Demon Bolt pretty often. Same for Shadowflame. This roll, of course, does not matter for this test. Now, I've played around with a few talents. I personally think Grimoire of Supremacy or Grimoire of Synergy is the way to go. Again, while I was explaining the whole thing about switching to priority targets or switching targets or burst AoE, Grimoire of Service will be the way to go. It is still a 2-minute cooldown despite what you see here on the tooltip. Each of these summons are a 2-minute shared cooldown and last for 25 seconds. So I've gone with Supremacy. Hell, why not? 20% more damage flat. Now I believe Synergy is the way to go, but as of moment they're not really dealing that much damage, my pets. Like, the tuning is really bad. I feel like some of them don't even deal damage sometimes, so I just want to just take what works rather than play around with what doesn't. Summon Inquisitor. Again, it's another pet, but on a cooldown, and it just AoEs. It looks really cool, which I can show you at the end of the video. Now I have spec Demon Bolt, which replaced Shadow Bolt, and as you can see, Demon Bolt gains more damage for more pets that you have, as I've explained before. And then Demonic Servitude is you maintain a stronger pet. Once again, I'm not so sure as to which one is the superior in single. Of course, this will be down to numbers and sets and trinkets and whatnots. So as of now, it's really a hit and miss as to which one is the superior single. I personally believe Demon Bolt has the potential to be the greater single, and Demonic Servitude, I'm not so sure if it fits. I always kind of felt like the Felguard was the signature pet for Demonology, and I guess Demonic Servitude is an option across the board, but there already is an AoE pet and it lasts almost as long as the core. It's only 6 seconds off, so in an AoE situation it's there. So even having an Infernal out all the time, it wouldn't really do anything. And a Doom Guard would just be a stronger version of the Felguard in some sense. So again, down to numbers, down to what direction they decide to take Demonic Servitude or Demon Bolt. I personally believe Demon Bolt should be baseline and not even a talent, and have something else there that works more in a different scenario, cleave, burst, or even another cooldown. Who knows, maybe an improved demonic empowerment. Let's get down to the rotation. Now, you've received a free skill from the artifact. It's called Fuckyel's Consumption. Now, it steals health from every pet, so you want to get as many imps out there. You can have up to 5 imps, 2 Dreadstalkers, your Fell Guard, and your cooldown Summon Doomguard, which is kind of cool. And then the moment you have maximum amount of pets, so there'll be somewhere of you tracking with add-ons, get that pet counter back consumption, and it will deal a ton of damage. Now it is a bit bugged, it doesn't actually deal damage on the alpha, but I'm pretty sure it will do a ton of damage considering. And then you want to maintain your Doom, and you want to go down on 4 shards, and you want a Dreadstalker when possible, and obviously you have Fellstorm on cooldown. Now Shadowflame, I will get over this. Shadowflame, it does stack, which is my current passive. As you can see, the cooldown of Shadowflame is 14 seconds. And the dot lasts for 8. What I do is I wait for the dot to drop down to 1 second, and then clip and get yourself 3 stacks. Now some might remember this from Gul'dan, Hand of Gul'dan, sorry, where you throw down a Hand of Gul'dan, swip into Demo, throw down another, and it would, the travel time would snapshot from the damage of going into meta, and it'd be a damage gain. So here's a little trick for your Shadowflame, and the damage does stack, it does add up, as it says, it does stack at the end. So that is pretty much Demonology. So let's give it a whirl. So you just want to start off with your Doom, pull out some Dreadstalkers, get in there, pet, please. Pets are a bit on the non-responsive side. I've done my Shadowflame, pulling out my Hand of Gul'dan, empowering my imps, spinning as well as empowering my Fell Guard, pulling out my Dreadstalker, waiting for that last second, fit it in, put up that Doom. Now I pretty much have a solid amount of pets. Let's give the Fuckyel Consumption a shot, and then bam, he done his work. Wait for the Shadowflame to stack up. Obviously Demonic Empowerment, you could actually keep this on cooldown. I'm not sure this will actually remain to be the case. I kind of feel like it's useless if you have so many charges. It's great for burst, but then you'll just be maintaining 1 charge forever. It doesn't really feel like I need to keep an eye on it or track it, and I don't really agree with it being 3 charges and lasting for the actual cooldown. I wouldn't mind if it was a 20-second cooldown and there was more to it, and it only had 2 charges. You know, allow me to have less uptime on it, because I believe 100% uptime is a bit crazy. It really is. That's constant 50% haste, as well as whatever your mastery is on their damage. And that's why I went with Power Trip, so every single pet is dealing that amount of damage and having that amount of haste. That's just maddening. So that's Demonology Warlock single target. As I said, I would show the Inquisitor, and here it is. Nothing. Oh, there he is. And he's shooting a Shadow Frost volley, but he isn't actually shooting anything. So, Demonology Warlocks, in a nutshell. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment and subscribe. If you got any suggestions, please do say in the message box below. Azril out, and have a nice day.